Welcome to Tradespoon in Yellow Tunnel. My name is Bakar Pell. I'm CEO and founder of both companies. And today we're going to have a live trading room open. So a weekly strategy roundtable open where we talk about current trades, current market conditions, what to expect, trade of the week, and answer any questions you might have. Thank you for joining. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Martin, Mike, Rodney, Haiju, Charles, thank you for joining. And we'll start promptly. Just type in yes if you can hear me. Welcome to Tradespoon. My name is Bakar Pell. I'm CEO and founder of Tradespoon. And today we're going to have our weekly strategy roundtable where we talk about current market conditions and answer any questions you might have about current market conditions and talk about trade of the week. For those of you who are new, welcome. If this is your first live event, type in first. Always want to welcome new subscribers. Sorry, skipping. Disclosures are very important. Please read them. Trading stock and options involve risk, not suitable for everyone. You must be aware of the risk and be willing to accept them. In order to invest in current market conditions, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not registered with FINRA nor SEC. I'm showing you what I do in my own account based on my own risk tolerance level for general education and information purposes only. All right, trading plan is important. Please read it. You can always get assistance with the trading plan from Keith Harwood. He's our head coach, and first session is free. You can always schedule an appointment. But before we jump into trades, let's look at. The story of this week are Magnificent Seven, right? The hyperscalers. So Google had earnings; it was negatively received, and now it's actually turning positive. Right, so it's trading above their earnings reaction price, so that's positive. Amazon hit a home run at all-time high, up 15%. Microsoft hit a home run, up also 15%, and at June highs. So hyperscalers are doing well, and we have a participation. AI stocks have rebounded significantly along with SMH, but for now, looks like it's losing steam, right? It's kind of losing steam at the 20-day moving average. So it's right at that 50% retracement. So as long as we're at about 50% retracement from all-time high to the April lows or this year lows, bulls are in control. Personally, I think there's a lot of positioning at 500. I think 500 level holds. But we do have expiration in August, right? But until August, expiration, until end of August, I think the lows is set, right? So as you're getting closer to 600, 625, maybe it makes sense to trim your position. At 500, I would add to my position. That's my strategy. Same could be said about QQQ. QQQ got very close to 700 level. That used to be a support since the beginning of May. We broke through that support, right? And right now we're trading below that level. Also 50% retracement, 20-day moving average, 50-day moving average. So somewhere between 690 and 720, there's a lot of overhead resistance. So I would consider trimming as you approach in 720. And then I would consider going long, buying at 660, 640. Fundamentally, nothing has really changed, right? Interest rates are still elevated. Probability of rate hikes increased. We didn't have July rate hike as expected, only 30% probability. But September, December, there's almost 100% certainty that there'll be a rate hike. And you could see 10-year yield made new highs today. 30-year yield made new highs today, and 2-year yield is not, it did trim, but it's bouncing back. So that's bearish for the market, and that would warrant being more conservative. Dollar pullback, so it supported the rally yesterday. It's oversold. It hit the 100 level, right? We said this 100 level line in the sand for many years now. A few years at least, not many, few years. Well, let's see. how big of a deal this 100 level. Yeah, many years, right? You have to go back to 2022. So for the past 4 years, strong dollar, weak dollar, broke down, tried to get above that and kind of rolling over, but I would watch 100 level, right? Dollar gets above 102, that's bearish for the market. If dollar drops back to this range, I think that's bullish. VIX pulled back at 17. Value stocks this week, I mean, basically, we made new highs this week, but also rolling over. And small caps did not make new highs. And trading right, it actually pierced through 290. I would watch 285 level, but if we stay below 285 level on small caps and value stocks also going to start rolling over, then the sell-off could kind of reignite. Spiders are basically turning flat right now. So again, energy prices is a problem, right? Oil continues to kind of grind higher. No new signal, but no de-escalation either, right? We're not at 70. We didn't break above 95. We're trading right in the middle of that, I don't know, well, not towards the upper range. So if oil prices go up, market will be under pressure, so geopolitical risks, and then macroeconomic data, right? We have unemployment data next Friday. We're going to have the following day inflation data. So every time, we have higher probability of inflation and the high probability of rate hikes, market is going to sell off. Every time it's the opposite, market is going to rally. So most likely trading in the range, right? I think, you want to consider trading, the market is going to trade in the range. Yield, keep an eye on yield. 2-year, no new signal. 10-year continues to go higher, almost at 2025 high. 30-year, actually, I don't know how far you have to go to see 30-year that high. Right, long time ago. We're back to 1999, right? 1999, right? So 30-year is definitely going higher, and that's, if 2-year was going lower, I would say it's fine, but they're all going higher. That's negative, right? That's bearish. VIX, no panic. I'm watching semiconductors, the 500 level, that's important level, and I'm watching small caps 290. That's an important level. All right. In terms of signals, let's review some of the trades this week. So you can use, let's first look at the model. So stock forecast toolbox model. We went over this in live trading room. Some of you were there. So under stock forecast toolbox, our main model, spiders, if you look at 6 months prediction, it was almost like magic. Like sometimes I really think there is magic, not always, but sometimes. On July 1st, model predicted that the low would be 729.80 and we're not going to get above 780. And if you look at the lows for spiders, right, almost like magic, let's see what the low. Low is 729.10, 729.10, 729.18. Right? You can think it's magic, or you can think this is just a great model. It definitely has merit. It has merit, and a lot of people use it on a daily basis. So I encourage you to use this model to give you a sense of either the market oversold or overbought. Does it mean that it's always going to be like in August, it'll be 746 will be the lows? No, we've seen, some of you, Martin, Renata, you guys Charles, you guys been here for many years. I appreciate you and your time. Sometimes we do get lower, right? If Microsoft had bad earnings and if Amazon had bad earnings, if they would spend more on CapEx and their revenue was only slightly higher, then we would break below 730. But more often than not, if there's equilibrium between bullish and bearish news, then these are your good guidelines. And what the picture shows you that don't be surprised that by the end of the year, we're going to be at 800 level. But short term, we might revisit 730 again, right, in August. So, or lower, right? So that is something that you can use as your guidelines of, where lows and highs are. Let's see SMH. Actually, I did not look at SMH 6 months. Let me see how good it did on SMH. It doesn't predict equally well on all the stocks. Yeah, so 636, right? So there was a huge reversal, right? Huge reversal in SMH. And the semiconductors, the trend is broken, right? We reached 500 on SMH. We reached 500 on SMH. So that tells you that structurally, I mean, you can say, oh, the model doesn't know what it's doing. It's not good. It says that SMH was in strong uptrend on July 1st, and now we significantly, not 5%, but 15% below what predicted. So this uptrend is definitely broken, right? The model will rerun tomorrow, and it will post the new lows, right? And that's a signal that you want to be diversified. Can SMH be 575, 560? Sure. 600? Sure. 625. But will it make new highs, in the next couple months? Probably not, right? Probably not. So that's the models, the stock forecast toolbox. You can use ETFs. You can, you can put, I don't know, Google, right? And look at Google prediction, 6 months. And it actually shows neutral trend 304 to 372 was predicted for Google. This was before the earnings. Not bad, 314, not bad, right? 314, that's oversold, and this is maybe where you start thinking about buying. 350, all right, we're getting back to, where it's getting overbought. Can it be 370? Sure, but at 370, if you have Google position, then maybe you want to start trimming. Any questions? All right, so that's stock forecast toolbox in terms of models. If you want to look at the signals, and if you want to help you build portfolio of what works now, then it's active trader, right? Weekly trader and monthly trader. Active trader, the model runs every day, and you get signals every day. What was the signal today? You click, and you basically say, okay, copper. Copper model sees that we haven't made new lows. Copper rallied with the market. Copper is one place to go on. Raytheon is in strong uptrend. I never even heard of this stock, but the model picked it up. Again, apparently it's S&P 500 stock. And also strong healthcare, right? This is healthcare. Okay, I like this pattern. These are bullish signals for today. You can buy stock, right? You can buy FCX. Model encourage you to split the trade into two, right? And here the gain is 1%. So on short-term aggressive trading, 1%. Obviously, volatility is still below 20, but in different sectors, volatility is very high, right? I was looking at our favorite VXN, right? This is the SIBO volatility. And we didn't get to extreme levels, 34, but we got close to 31, 32 level. So, this is, if you're trading SIBO, if you're trading NASDAQ stocks, NASDAQ 100 stocks, then obviously the range is higher, right? You would have to adjust. Model doesn't adjust right away. It kind of just, we're hard coding 1%. But you should, if you decide to trade S&P stocks or momentum stocks like copper, then maybe instead of 1%, you look for 2%, right? Instead of 1%, maybe you're looking at 2%. So that's what I would encourage you to do. Patrick is back. Anya, welcome. We have a lot of good turnout today. Love it. All right. So copper is doing well. And this is a signal. You can split the trade into two, adjust for higher volatility, maybe 1.5%, and split the trade into two. And I encourage you to start with only 4 positions at a time, with maximum loss of 2.5%, whether it's active trader or weekly trader where model runs every week and the signal is longer, right? But it's the same idea. Use barbell approach, only allocate 10% of your portfolio to these high beta, high momentum stocks. Keep cash, right? If you don't think we're going to make new highs in the next couple of months before midterm elections, maybe it makes sense to just, have 30% of your portfolio in cash, right? Midterm elections, that second year, there's always volatility in the market because we don't know who's going to control Senate and the House, right? But if the Senate and House gets flipped to Democrats, right, then there is more balance of powers, and historically market likes this balance of powers, right? They don't want a shift one way or another, right, where there's too much power, presidents have too much power, right? So, you keep 30% of portfolio in cash until midterm elections. And, if we revisit the lows or even make marginal new lows, okay, then you go long, right? And then the rest of the positions you can keep in, ETFs. You can buy small caps, QQQ, or value stocks. Value and small caps have been outperforming the market. They continue to outperform the market, so it makes sense to put some of your money to value stocks or small caps. I encourage you to schedule an appointment consultation with Keith. Find the time that works for you and talk to Keith. First session is free. You have nothing to lose. He does do coaching, one-on-one coaching. He can do group coaching, or he can just give you 30 minutes of his time and share his wisdom. He's been trading for a very long time, and I only have one person ever complain about Keith. So, and I have a lot of good feedback. So this is something that you probably want to consider. I paste the link here. All right, so that's active trader, weekly trader, trade small, trade often, right? Keep an eye on how much risk you're taking and how much cash you have. You don't want to trade on margin, right? That would be one mistake, that very popular mistake, and hopefully nobody on this call will do that. So that's active trader, weekly trader. You can trade options, right? If you want to even be more aggressive, okay, then you can go in and say, okay, I'm going to buy copper calls, FCX calls. Maybe not this week, but maybe I'll go to next week or monthly expiration, right? So you can go options and same idea, right? You have suggested entry points for either stock or options, and you can do it this Friday if you're doing day trading. Next Friday, if you're aggressive trader, you can go to whatever your trading style is, right? And that's kind of the weekly trader and active trader. We talked about stock forecast toolbox. Elite Circle, right? The trade of the week was energy, right? So I am managing DVN position. I think you want to have exposure to energy. DVN was a signal from last week. I'm still long DVN calls. It is announcing earnings next week, so I have to take the risk of earnings, but I'm going to assume that the earnings are bullish. I'm risking 89 cents or making dollar, right? So well-defined risk. What else? So it's a live trading room, Elite Circle. You can sign up for Elite Circle as well. Actually, if you sign up for this account in Avant-Garde Trading, right? We have a marketing relationship with Avant-Garde Trading, Yellow Tunnel, and Tradespoon. All the companies have financial incentives, so full disclosure. But if you do sign up with Avant-Garde, you do get 65 cents a contract. So if you're paying more, that's one reason to join. We have letter of direction, right? Auto execute capabilities of dynamic power trader is one of these trades, like DVN. You have full letter of direction capabilities. Or third reason is, different strategies should be traded in different accounts. Because if you have same strategy in the same account, then which strategy works, which newsletter works, you just don't know, right? So this is another reason to open up an account. right? And you see full disclosure. I'm actually CIO of this company, Yellow Tunnel and Avant-Garde Trading. So I do have financial interest in this, but I built Options Express, Options House, Peak 6, and this is my favorite platform, and it's all driven by AI. So that's amazing. All right, but anyway, so you can trade today. I've been trading about QQQ. Another idea that you might want to think about it is hedging, right? You don't want to be one common mistake that the new traders make is that you're always bullish, right? And you just buy and hold, right? And it's great, but if the market reached the top, or if you have consolidation for a few months or a few years sometimes, well, then you're not making any money, right? So you want to start thinking about that you can be long and short the market at the same time. You can buy QQQ put hedge, you can buy weak stocks, you can buy inverse ETFs. There's different ways of trading and benefiting if the market pulls back, and then you build the ratio, right? If you think market is oversold, we're going to grind higher, okay, you have more bullish positions than bearish positions, and vice versa. If you think this rebound is coming to an end and you want to be a little bit more conservative, okay, then maybe it makes sense to buy this QQQ put spread, right? I've been trading about this QQQ put spread, I think now a few times, right? I bought at 610 QQQ spread, close at 811, bought 590, close at 605. I think this was just a mistake. And 684. So you can see that I'm continuing to trade with this QQQ put spread and continue to mitigate the risk, right? Mitigate the risk and mitigate the drawdown, right? You want to make sure that your drawdown in portfolio is less than 20%, because we know historically and that anytime you're above 20% drawdown in your portfolio, you panic. I mean, I panic. Most of the subscribers panic. I mean, you might not panic. The idea is that when we are reaching extreme volatility, right? When VXN or VIX gets to these 32 levels or 50 levels, well, that's usually historical opportunities. How do you take advantage of these historical opportunities? Only if you don't panic. How you don't panic? Well, if you have cash, right? If I have 30-40% of my cash at 31, 32, okay, I'm buying, right? If I'm on margin call at 32, well, I'm selling, right? So it just depends on your portfolio composition and how much cash you have. In general, you do not want to buy on margin, right? No matter what, right? Doesn't matter if VIX is at 50 or at 32, you always want to have cash. At 50, I would have less cash. At 32, I have less cash. If we drop to 25, if we drop to 20, okay, maybe it's time to, use that cash to your advantage. So that's elite circle. And, so you have combination of stock trades, option trades, right? So stock trades, option trades, and that's elite circle, right? And that's elite circle that I encourage you to participate. We can auto trade premium portfolio. So that's Avant-Garde Trading. I'm going to, put that link here. And then we can give you three months free membership. I mean, Tradespoon, Yellow Tunnel, as long as you fund the account, then you will be able to benefit from that. Any questions? All right, so I'm going to put the... Okay, so one link is to talk to Keith. I think that's a good use of your time. And the second one is to open up account in AGT, and you can get 3 months. If you sign up and fund Avant-Garde account, and then you buy Tradespoon or Yellow Tunnel membership, right? As long as we have your credit card on file, we will refund you the 3 months of payments. All right, any other questions? We have a lot of people today, love it. All right, Charles, Haiju, Martin, Mike, Renata, Sastri. Sorry if I butcher your name. Simon, Patrick, Anila, Tota. All right, you guys are awesome. Thank you very much. Consider, talking to Keith, signing up for the offer. You can sign up for any of these memberships. Again, Elite Circle, you will see all of our trades. You can see all of my positions. There is a morning bell, closing bell. You can participate live. If you don't have time, I encourage you to watch the recordings. Please, 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 if you're using these signals and if you have these positions, every day there's 2 recordings. You can fast forward before you fall asleep. Put 5-10 minutes. It's going to be good use of your time. You do this for a few months. It will train your memory muscle, and I think you'll become a much better trader. That's all I have for today. You guys are awesome. Thank you for participating. We have a lot of turnout. I'm super happy, and I will see you guys. Hopefully at the closing bell today, or Monday morning bell, or next Friday, same time, same place, same content, more information, right? And and I hope to see you there. Patrick, love that you participating. All right, thank you very much, and have a great day. Charles, Haiju, Martin, Mike, Renato, Sastri, Simon, Patrick, and everyone else, thank you very much, and have a great day.